when I meet people the way I've met these guests who happen to just be spectacular people, everybody's spectacular, but I found some extraordinary things going on with their lives. Super cool. So that's why I'm calling this episode Taking the Stage.
Great morning, world! Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon!
What's up? I would say great morning, but this is one of those times that we're interviewing people that are not in my time zone. So we can say like great afternoon or great recording, we can say, because you're probably just watching this as a recording. But this is your boy Dragon with another episode of Rise Up with Dragon. I'm really fired up about the way, not so much my guests, although these are amazing guests that I have coming on here today. But I'm more interested in, and I know that you guys understand this, is I'm interested in how I meet these people. I'm interested in synchrony and the way events unfold, because a big part of what I always talk about is just becoming self-aware and conscious of everything that's unfolding in front of you. The analogy I always like to use is if you look at the Hunger Games, Katniss Everdeen, like anytime she was like in trouble, like all of a sudden this like parachute would show up in front of her. Like imagine if she didn't like notice that, she'd be fucked, right? Because it was like something useful. So when I meet people the way I've met these guests who happen to just be spectacular people, everybody's spectacular, but I found some extraordinary things going on with their lives. Super cool. So that's why I'm calling this episode Taking the Stage. So what I want to do right now is explain why I'm calling it Taking the Stage, and that's how I can tee up our guest. But before I do it, I just want to give a welcome to Ben and Natalia Harris. How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up? So happy to be here, Dragon. It's an honor.
Awesome, man. And you know what I'm excited about is after I tee it up, I'm excited to get to know you guys. Like I know of you and you know a little of me, but one of the things I love about these interactions is getting to know you. So anyway, on the surface, you'll when you find out about Ben and Natalia and we'll hear their story, whether it's, as entertainers, unbelievable story behind the entertainment, or owning what is it called? Glam parlor, right? Yeah. Which is super cool. And my wife Chicken, by the way, that's my wife Chicken right there.
Hey, Chicken.
Yeah. She's interested in that, but then also the real estate business. But what's interesting is when you look at them, you see these people that are just crushing it in life. If you're looking at it from a societal standpoint, it's like these people are very successful, crushing it. But we're more interested in how it all unfolded, and where they came from and what their driving force is. So when I met these two, I was, and you guys will have already heard the interview I had with Ben Humble, and I met him at the same event. Mm-hmm. But what I loved about this is I was at this event, the Final Percent. Shout out to Greg Kimball. And
what up, Greg? Let's go.
Yeah, we gotta thank him for this.
Thank you.
For Greg. We'll have a moment of silence for Greg. So I remember I saw you guys, and there's certain people that you notice, and there's certain people that kind of just like fly by. But I noticed you guys, and I made an assumption. I said they look like a couple. I don't know. You guys they're obviously in support of Greg, so I don't know if you work for the company or something like that. But I just remember noticing you. So that's the first thing. But then there was this moment where all of a sudden, Chicken and I are outside dancing and listening to this purple explosion thing that went on at this event. And when I saw you come out on stage, Ben, that's when I didn't just notice you, but I felt your presence as well. So that's why I called this Take the Stage, because obviously super talented guy. He can sing, he can rap, and he can dance like there's no tomorrow. Still don't know anything about Natalia, because she's just standing next to me saying, like, okay, baby. But I remember I just said, I looked at it and I said, I want to know that guy. I want to find out more. And then I come to find out he's one of the speakers and they have this big real estate. So welcome to the Rise Up a Dragon podcast / show. I'm so excited to get to know you guys better, and you had an impact on me already.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, I just want to let your listeners know the same thing with you. You had this fly outfit on, you were standing by the bar, and I just had to walk over and introduce myself, see what you're doing. And I didn't even know you were about to blow our minds with your wonderful speech as well. So at the same time, I'm like, wow, that's the guy I was just talking to at the bar. It was so cool. He's telling me this. Now he's talking about this. And we always deal with that with the emoji and all that. So it was great how it all came together. Shout out Dr. Greg Kimball.
And we had, and everybody's saying, no, you're the poop guy. The poop. I like the poop.
I wasn't gonna say it, but
or the that's what I like.
The
all of it. Yeah,
that's my favorite concept. So here's what I find fascinating. I've listened to you guys on podcasts, and I see your presence on YouTube. Here you are listing $11 million homes, and you're doing all this stuff, and then we find out that your parents. Right. And you got to work all that stuff together. But here's the interesting part for me and also for my listeners. It seems like for the most part, because I think did you both go to ASU?
Yes, we did.
Is that where you met?
No, actually, the campus is so huge. I graduated.
Give me that story quick. How did you two come together?
Yeah, so right after ASU, I was starting to blow up with my independent music. Then I got a deal at this nightclub at Barcelona, North Scottsdale, right after ASU. So I graduated, became the front man of this band. She was like the shot girl. She's way out of my league. I wasn't even trying to holler at her, but I was up on stage with a tank top every night, flexing in her direction.
Wait a second. You landed the shot girl?
Well, I started to notice she kept giving all my friends free shots, and she's like, everyone else had to pay so much for them. I'm like, wait, I think I'm onto something, but she was still out of my league. I was like, wait a second. Then I realized she was like single for the moment. She came up to me, and then we've been together ever since.
That's amazing. I mean, so I always notice the shot girl. I'm like, who's the shot girl?
Yeah, the 6-pack, they got to hold the tray up. So just all the way from across the room.
Okay, so I would assume that you guys kind of met each other at a time that life was very exciting. You hadn't achieved great success, but you probably were pretty optimistic that you were moving in the right direction. I heard you make a quote with Greg, something that you love to use, something about, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm on track.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of the song. So basically, Greg reached out to everyone's like, hey, I want to do a song on this album with each person. Then he asked me. I already had this concept that I live my life by. I don't know where I'm going, but know exactly where I'm headed. Like, it's kind of like the GPS will reroute to the destination I want to go. So I don't mind if I take this turn. I know it's going to reroute if I'm feeling it. My intuition is all I'm listening to. So I keep that in the driver's seat as I'm driven. And then it just ended up the right way. If I listened to what everyone said I was supposed to do or how you're supposed to do it and try to do that path, I wouldn't have been happy. And who knows what would have happened.
I think that's our mindset for pretty much almost everything we do, is as long as it makes sense and it feels like it's, taking us to that next level, then we're not too worried about what it is. We just kind of go for it.
Yeah. And the chorus says, eyes up on the finish line, never looking back. Might not take the right road, but I'm always on the right track. So it's like, I'm just going. As long as I'm not worrying about what's behind me, then I will keep going on the right track.
So I love what you're saying. Love the GPS, scenario. But a big part of staying on track is knowing and deciding where you're going. So that's what's fascinating is Henry Ford says, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So I just want to point out that, there's something about this vision. I always call the destination, I always refer to it as our North Star. If you're ever lost in life, all you got to do is look up, find the North Star, and you'll find your way home. So I feel that anybody that's on track and on the right path, which I think the song is called The Path,
Yep,
is somebody that's very dialed into their North Star. So if we go back, am I correct in saying that I mean, I want to know where the musicality came from, because I'm looking, even in the real estate business, you guys are using your talents as a business major, marketer on one side, and then the talent, and just coming together and just rising people up. That's why you're successful. So let's go back. How did the musicality start?
Wow. So as long as I can remember, I was in kindergarten. I remember my mom telling me we did La Bamba, and I'm just like wilding out with this guitar. I'm just holding it. It's like, I didn't know. I was always so shy. But when I got up on the stage, like, who is this kid? And then I would visit my dad in Phoenix and my grandparents in Gary, Indiana, and record all like BET, MTV, because we lived in a small town in Indiana, real small, like no cable or anything. And then I would come back and replay these music videos and mimic them in my memorize all the moves and film myself doing all the Usher moves and all the music videos as I'm coming up. I just always knew that's what I was going to be. So through high school, I'm like, where do I go to do this? So like, oh, you're crazy. You're dreaming too big. You got to do this. And then I just always knew. So then I go to ASU, my parents want to make sure I got my degree. I understood that. But in between the classes where I felt on course all the time, like I'd be getting through the classes easy. All you had to do is show up right before the test, join a study group, and like you got all the questions. That's part easy. But in the class, I'm networking. In between the classes, I'm really going to work. It wasn't work to me. It's just where do I set at the shows? If there was a band performing on campus, right when they were breaking down, the mic was still hot, I would jump up and start freestyling, because everyone knew me as the fast rapper at all the parties. I was a battle rapper. I was undefeated on the radio. So I was just up there rapping fast, talking about people, making people feel good. If I was battling the person, maybe I was making them feel bad, but making them feel good right after, healthy competition. So everyone just kind of knew me as the rapper on campus. I always knew that's what I was going to be. I get my degree, broadcasting degree. So I enjoyed like dressing up, talking on the news, reporting. I had my own radio show and own TV show. And then right when I was graduating, everyone's like, all right, you got to stop this music stuff. It's time to get your real job. I landed the band up in Scottsdale, which was huge because we were the house band. So every weekend, $1,000 a week, which was huge to me just graduating, as my friends are sending out tapes to get like 20,000 a week in a random town. So I was like, see, I told you I could do this, but then I knew I had to keep going, and I'm still always going, but I just always was focused and used all my free time and networking to get where I am. Always independent, no record label, recording everything in my dorm room, mixing it, printing it until the ink would run out of the colored ink, passing it around campus when it was CDs. Had my little Discman, listen right here, just giving it away. I wasn't even selling it. I was just promoting it, kind of like before social media, giving away all the stuff for free.
Well, so to my point, I mean, battle rapping, man, like, okay, what do you do for a living? I'm a battle rapper. That's awesome. I want to be a battle rapper one day. But once again, here you are doing something highly abnormal, right? I mean, and it's only abnormal because not many people either have the talent or have the gumption to go up and do that. What were you getting out of that when you started to perform? What was that doing for you? Because what I'm trying to set up, what I see you guys doing now is not that different than you being on stage. It's a different, you're not creating an illusion for people, but I see what you do to people. I see what you did to me. So at that early phase, when you kind of were just coming into like noticing that you're comfortable on stage and all that stuff, what was the feedback loop that turned you on about that?
The engagement, uplifting souls, making people feel good, making them feel empowered and inspired. Sometimes I got to be extra confident and extra cocky just to make sure they can, even though I'm just down to earth and they understand that as well. But I want to jump into their mind, making you can be whatever you want, confident, feel good. And if you don't understand it, here, I'll show you right through me. And I'm going to show yourself you can do that. At first, I started just to prove everyone wrong. The kid, I was from the country. I was talking slower than everybody. I didn't know any slang, so I was just proving when I got on the stage and the mic, like, never mind. Don't mess with him. He can go crazy. And I came from like a small town with no violence. I left my doors unlocked. I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't doing the stuff the typical rapper who was cool on campus was doing. So I had to just show it with my like lyrical skills and ability to engage and move around and jump around and just become in the music. Just not just a rapper, not just a singer, just like, whoa, it's almost like a superhero on stage jumping around. That's how I always picture it. And then I was doing at first to prove them wrong. Then I'm like, wait, these people are feeling really good. Now I just do it to make everybody feel good, uplift souls. That's my goal when I'm on stage.
All right. So here's my question, a little bit of a deep question. Did you lack that in your life as a child? Like why? Very often human beings find themselves doing for others what they needed in their life or they experienced in their life. So, was this a pay it forward thing, or was this you to a certain degree, to the best you can answer this, is performing a healing process for yourself?
Yeah, it must be. No one's ever asked me that, but I can, as you were saying it kind of makes sense. First of all, yeah, it's like a drug. I feel good. The adrenaline, obviously I was performing like my whole life. I was on the stage at the Mirage every night. So just the thousands of people every night, just knowing like, it's just my daily routine. Like, how y'all feeling? And you're like, rah, rah, just bounce all that energy out. But I mentioned visiting my dad. So I was with my mom raised me, best mom ever, by herself. And then I had a couple stepdads come in and they were great, but I'd always visit my dad. So now I'm realizing, as I was just talking about putting that confidence and everything I'm kind of doing with my son now, maybe I was lacking that from my dad. He was a great dad, but he wasn't there as I was actually, it was just always fun, going to the parks, getting shoes and outfits. It was all summer. Then I'd go back and I was lacking that. So now as I jump up on stage, I can see that I'm like, no matter what your situation is, through me, you're going to feel all right. And like you belong.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So now I know you.
Yeah, that's why they call you doctor. I see. Okay.
I teach a structure and a system to look at the world differently and create a better response to things. So I'm just fascinated in what really makes people tick. So I can just imagine, Natalia, that as a shot girl, you're like, take some of that crazy guy, because I mean, like I was gonna leave chicken when I for Ben when I saw him take the stage. Well, I'm sure you guys had a real fun, just exciting, and I'm sure that it wasn't all perfect, but when you guys came together. But Natalia, because as we build up towards where you guys are at now, while he was in ASU, I think you were going to ASU as well, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're working. Just you weren't going to ASU to become a shot girl, but you have your own talents and skills. So, what were you going to ASU for? And because I believe after that, or in ASU, you were studying marketing and media.
Yeah, so I went to ASU for marketing and psychology. I went to the business school there. It was great. It was a great experience, although obviously marketing is ever evolving. So, it was more of an experience and a way to meet people and get a college degree. But at the same time, I feel like marketing changes all the time. So whether or not I use it, that's a whole different story. But yeah, I was going to ASU. I was the shot girl at Barcelona. Then after that, when Ben got a gig at the Mirage in Vegas, we ended up moving together and I moved with him. I had by then graduated. I started to do marketing and utilize my degree. So initially I did hospitality marketing out here. I went from, an assistant to a marketing manager to a marketing director pretty quickly. And I ran some of the top venues in Vegas. I was the marketing director over at Aria, Mandalay Bay. I did all their nightlife and daylight venues. So I did everything from hiring and booking the artists to running a multi-million-dollar media buy to doing all the decorations and production for the events. And it's kind of funny because a lot of my reasoning is similar to Ben's too. Like, even though marketing seems like nothing like performing, at the end of the day, for me, like the most exciting part was to see everyone enjoy the party I threw or to see everyone enjoy the performance I put together. So for me, it was kind of, that was the big part of it, is seeing the excitement and like touching people in one way or another in their life. And they remember that moment. So I feel like that was the same thing with the salon as well. For me, I'm not a lash artist, but it was taking something that I felt was missing in the community we live in. And I created like a princess cave and an experiential salon for the women in the community. And again, it wasn't because I'm a lash artist. It was because I wanted to use my skills in marketing and branding to create something that women then will enjoy beyond just an appointment. It's more of an experience and a whole club for them. So for me,
wait. Princess Cave. What a cool concept. I love that. So because now it's not just about getting lashes and things like that. And by the way, I just love the story that you guys opportunities are being presented to you and you're following your paths, you're looking at the kung fu that you possess as an artist, marketing, media, and stuff like that, and you're following your dreams. But I don't know if you could see it at that time, but obviously you can see that it's coming together to meld together into something amazing, which also fruited some children. But when you say Princess Cave, I'm thinking that there's an experience and there's a vibe. I'd love that. Could you explain a little bit what that means?
Yeah, so obviously pre-COVID, it was a lot more fun. Hopefully we can go back to where it was. But I mean, the idea, when you walk in, it's a feeling. I mean, it's chandeliers, it's glitter, it's pink LED lights. You know, we have a cotton candy cart and we make fresh cotton candy for everyone that walks in. You know, there's pink popcorn. It's not just, you know, you walk in and there's a row of chairs and you're getting a service. I mean, everything about it is experiential. I mean, the scents in there in the room, just everything is thought of. We're actually, it's a little bit of a secret, so you guys will be the first to know, but we're going to be doing a little speakeasy, like mimosa bar in the back to kind of add to it, because we're noticing so many of our clients come in and want to hang out before their appointment, and will like come and hang out for like 15 to 20 minutes before their appointment just in our waiting room. So we kind of want to add to that experience and really make it like a place where women can just, and men really, can just go and enjoy themselves in a glamorous environment.
I love that. You know, the doctor in me, I practiced as a chiropractor for about 17 years. And we'll talk about that some other time. But, you know, I took care of the Royal Prince of Abu Dhabi, and I was a chiropractor for anthrax. And I really experienced fun time with that. But I always had this idea in the same light of having my practice like a medical kind of a practice, but in the front of it would be a coffee house. So come into the coffee house, they would go back and get their treatment, and they can hang out before or after. So
I'd kill it. Then you don't ever feel like you're waiting. You're just, oh, it's my turn. I didn't realize.
Well, I mean, people want to feel, you know, people want the services, but when they're looking at where to spend their time and their money, they want to feel something, you know, because most of the time people are just running a program that was taught to them by their mother, father, teacher, preacher, and they're getting old. So when we dip into little elements of things like that, like beautifying and things like that, you want to feel something. So, and then back to your mission, you two, I would assume that that's what you love most about it. I know it sounds like a great business plan, and I'm sure that it can be lucrative when the pandemic is not fucking it up. But at the same time, you probably enjoy seeing those people experience that.
Oh, that's my favorite part, to watch someone come out and be like, you know, for some people, they get dolled up all the time. For others, this is the first time in their life they've had something done to them. Those are my favorite, because, you know, when someone walks out and you just see that look on their face, like, I just feel confident, and you feel like you gave them that little burst of confidence. That's like priceless.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah.
That's important for people to hear, because I think a lot of people are just going through the motions and trying to be transactional in their success. But I almost get the feeling, because I know you guys are entrepreneurs, and we're going to get to like where you're at now, probably once again on your way to somewhere else. But I get the feeling when I hear successful people talk about their journey, I get the feeling that it wasn't all about succeeding. It was about lifting people, as you said, and entertaining people, kind of knowing that success comes along with it. But when I think about you running your shop, I see the similarity between that and Ben being on stage. You know, it's like, it's potentially the great feeling of creating an experience that moves people as well.
Yeah, that's what honestly brought us together in terms of real estate. Is during the pandemic, when we got to talking, we realized real estate actually incorporates a lot of the things that we're both passionate about. Being part of someone's journey to like home ownership or investment, just being part of such an important part of their life is uplifting them. You know, it is in a way touching their lives in a really big way. And then in addition to that, being able to educate a bigger group of people that didn't maybe think they could invest in real estate or could own real estate, opening their eyes to that. That's so rewarding too. So I feel like, you know, even though it seems like a completely different world and you wouldn't at all think that, you know, you're putting on a show or entertaining someone or helping someone it really does come down to that.
Oh yeah, it's the same face that we all love, with me in the crowd with the kid, or the dad seeing the kid excited, then him, and then both of them looking up like that. And then when the lady coming out and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go to the club now, and that's the same. We just last week when they were able to get their home and their kids showed up, we're like, go ahead, pick your room. It's the same face. So that just, I'm completely excited, souls uplifted, mission accomplished. And then it's almost selfish because then we love it. We get excited and I'm like, wait, is it a bad thing if I get excited making you excited? Is it selfish, or is it because of you? I don't know, but just that good energy just keeps going up.
Yeah.
So do the best you can. Well, first of all, just quickly, how did you guys find real estate? I mean, did it look like a good business plan, or did you fall into it? How did you move from where you were, even the beginning of getting into real estate?
Well, when Natalia was talking about her rise, she definitely skipped over that she is the only one going to ASU with her own place, a nice place too, where we're all in the dorms. So at 18, she had her job and she bought her first place and actually just sold it.
Yeah, 18 years later.
That actually went through the dip and then all the way back up. But as she was saying, it's so nice to educate people on not renting and owning. I was one of those people. I'm over here just performing and spending money and renting and not understanding it. So she locked me in, and then we realized we both liked work. She had her real estate license in Arizona.
Yeah, I had my real estate license back when I was 18, and then I took a little detour when I just got my marketing degree and kind of dove right into that because I just felt that's what you were supposed to do once you get a degree. And I'm not going to lie, I had a pretty nice gig out here in Vegas. It was fun. So I kind of took a detour, but in the beginning of my life, real estate always resonated with me because my parents moved here, when I was 3 from Russia. So I saw them hustle and build businesses. And I remember when they purchased their first home, how important that was to them and how much of an accomplishment that was. And it's funny because their English wasn't that great. So I was like a 12-year-old, like looking through contracts with them and like their legal advisor. Looking back, they probably should have gotten someone better than me, but I was like almost acting as their realtor, even back then. So I was very into the process when they dealt with purchasing homes. So for me, that was something really important to me. And that was one of my first goals that I wanted to achieve right away. So the second, luckily they were giving loans to everyone back then in 2003. But I was able, to get a loan and get a condo. And once I did that, after that, I just wanted to tell everybody. So even during that, 10-year gap where I took a break from real estate, Ben can let, we'd be at a dinner table and someone's a renter and, I'm not getting commission from it, but I'm like, why are you renting? Like you need to buy. This is why it's great for you. So for me, home ownership has always just been so important that I've always wanted to spread that message. So once, quarantine hit and Ben's career changed and the salon was kind of at a place where it didn't need me there 24/7 anymore, we kind of started talking about things that we love and are interested in. And that was one of the first things that came up.
It's interesting how you guys kind of missed the whole market crash.
I know.
Yeah, it's right when we moved out here.
Yeah.
2009. I remember that.
It's fascinating. Like, you always wonder, how does the universe and God show you that it's on your side? Sometimes it challenges us. God only prunes the branches he wants to see grow. But also sometimes we get these blessings and gifts. It's like, have you guys ever kind of identified that your path that was ahead of you, for whatever reason, you took a step back from it, still passionate about it during the time that you would have gotten fucked by it?
That's honestly, I've never thought about that. So you just said that, but that is
welcome to the rise of a
drug. Literally took the detour during that time period.
You did. I didn't even know. I'm still was trying to understand. Wait, I'm renting. That doesn't mean I can paint this wall and I have to repaint. Like, owning. Like I was still not understanding it. And then as far as me with the real estate, I've always liked what I talked about at the speech we did was not just being an entertainer, not just being a rapper. So I always love, both my parents were successful civil engineers, wanted me to be an architect. So I love houses and designs and all these views out here. I love that. So then I started to get, after 10 years, this is like an ongoing joke with all the crew that they love this. I was like, well, at least he's pretty. They would always say that was like the joke because I would perform good, but then I'd just be like taking naps and eating the food while everyone else is setting the show up and breaking it down. And I'm like, well, that's all he does. But in my mind, I was like, oh, I can do so much more. So when quarantine hit, I was like, this is my time. I had already taken the real estate classes, but when I had the show every night, touring every weekend, I could never actually do the test. It was just interesting. So then I was like, finally, we're going to get it. And then even when I thought the show was coming back, we were going to do it. And then now that we can create our own schedule, obviously I miss performing with Terry Fader. He's the greatest in the world, but it's nice to have our own schedule, work together. It's the first thing we're working together actually as a team. I'm always supporting her with the salon and everything she does. She's always supporting me and my music, as you saw her in the crowd. First time Gavin ever saw me perform, by the way, and our son. And now we're actually a team. So now we're working it out, the roles and everything still, but we're loving it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something quick, funny about Terry Fader. Chicken and I don't watch TV. Like we like movies and stuff, but we're minimalists and we minimize anything. We're very careful about what we allow in, right? So for that reason. So, but I always heard about this show, America's Got Talent, right? And I think that the only episode I ever watched of that, I saw him.
Right.
And I heard that you were on tour with him and doing stuff with him. And I'm like, interesting, So take me through this, because now, I mean, are you guys having a ball with real estate now? You love it, right?
Oh, we're having a lot of
fun. Oh yeah, we jumped in, we're doing everything. Now we're kind of finding our niches and what we're loving to do or attack. But I'm coming from entertainment, so everyone already knew me. So it's just the same thing. Like, wait, you're doing this now? Like, yeah, cool. You need help with it? Yeah, I would love to use you, because I was a fan, and I was a fan of you. And like, so the sphere is just transferred right over. There was like no transition. Like, what do we do? It's like, wow, all these people need homes now. This is great. So I see it. Like, first of all, I want you to know, because I've been to your website. I think it is Ben and Natalia.com, right? Yeah.
And I want you to know that coming from, I live in the French Riviera and Westchester, right? Very depressing seeing how much bang you get for your buck in Vegas. Like it's for $1 million, you can buy a home that here is like $8 million. So
we know.
Yeah.
I went to your website and I said, maybe we should think about moving to Las Vegas.
We got you.
Yeah.
So, but because remember, most people are going to listen to this as a podcast, but even if they're watching, they don't know what it's like. What's it like to go see a house that you two are showing?
Well, that's funny. We've actually made a TikTok about it, like stuff I had to work on coming from entertainment transition. She's good at it. But he
doesn't have a good poker face.
Yeah, say we're showing a house and I'm walking in like, oh, wait, like, look at this. And the person may be like, I'm used to these. I'm coming from this and I don't want this. So I had to really learn how to put myself right in their shoes. Be like, oh, it's okay. It's not like this, or I was expecting this. Otherwise, everything I go and I'm like, this is the best. Like, are you trying to sell me on it? Like,
yeah, I'm picturing Ben like getting up on a bed and jumping.
Yeah. So then I gotta quickly be like, oh yeah, do we like it? Let us know if we like it.
If anyone can ever not find me, it's because I got stuck in the closet if I was mesmerized by it. But no, it's really hard to go into some of these homes and make it not about yourself and your own excitement, and just really like almost like erase everything you've ever thought about anything and just strictly listen to what your client is looking for and almost try to think of things through their eyes, because it's a lot of the clients really trust your judgment and your opinion. And the last thing you want to do is have something that you like or don't like that's very a subjective, item influence their decision, because you want them to, have what they like. Obviously, if it's something that's not a good investment, we would let them know. But if it's how big the master closet is, then I don't need to tell them it's not that
so
good.
Now I do it backwards. I'll go in there, be calm, collective, and then after, if they're really excited about something, I'll be like, exactly, and that's why I was trying to tell you this. And then if they don't like anything, then I'll like put my excitement to the side, like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So you guys are getting good at matching and mirroring other people, and that's when you're a performer, when you're an entertainer, when you're a pleaser. That's the biggest challenges that pleasers have is recognizing that sometimes we're portraying and projecting what we want for other people rather than just listening. And if you're in a business where people are coming to see if something's right for them, so that's a big transition. But I've watched videos, and like, you've got beautiful Natalia saying, come on over, let me show you this. And Ben's just like got this excitement. I would assume that just like, the parlor, it's an experience, and how much, because this is what's fascinating to me. Like right now, Chicken and I are actually looking to buy a home in Colorado.
Oh, great.
So we haven't actually gone and had a home shown to us by people like you. So we're just looking at homes. So I'm like thinking about, well, would I buy this one? Would I buy that one? But how big of a part is the experience of going through and seeing a house and the way you guys, I mean, you guys set it up so beautiful and there's food and all that stuff. Like, how much is that a part of the experience of somebody buying a home?
The whole part.
Yeah, I think at a certain, price point where the clients just used to a very luxurious, extravagant lifestyle, you want that to be in this part of the process too. So, I mean, we'll do the music, the candles, champagne, snacks. It's just kind of, you want it, we've even gone as far as if there's a client coming into town, for example, like something for like our $11 million listing, if we know what kind of wine they like or what kind of music they like, or what kind of scents they like, then we try to communicate with that agent ahead of time and have those things ready for them so it could feel like their home when they walk in. So I think, just as part of everything in life, the experiential part of it is key.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So when we're showing the home, it's not we're just showing this home. For that moment you're in there, you're transported into your home. And you're in there just feeling like, oh yeah, I'm home. I like this. How do you know I like this music? You're fit. And then you leave like, oh wait, that wasn't my home. It needs to be. Because it wasn't just like, show you around, let me know when you're done. Where even if they want privacy, just let us know. You want some champagne, whatever you need. Or never just like, let us know, walk in. It's like, welcome to your home. It's a whole experience.
And they call him the vibe. So I'm the business and he's the vibe in the group. While I'm like writing the contract, he's doing all that. And I have to hand it to him because when we first show up at a house, we usually have like maybe 5-10 minutes before, the client's going to walk in to get it all ready. And he's like Tasmanian devil, like opening doors, turning on lights, like just everything. That way, like when the person walks in, the house is just ready.
Well, I know because when we're on the other side bringing buyers to somebody's showing and we're walking in, I'm like, should I open these doors? Like, we want them to like this. Let's open these doors. Let's get some music going, guys. I'm like, let me help you out. But another thing I was about don't know where I'm going, but know exactly where I'm headed. So with Terry, I was like, why am I loving this small talking? Like I call myself the king of small talk. People hate it. So there used to be not awkward to me, exciting times where people would be in the theater an hour early. So I'm in there. It's just us. They could be like, don't look at me. Why is he looking at me? But I would be looking at him like, no, we're talking. We're going to become friends. And no matter who it was in the corner, I'm like, no, I am looking at you. You got the binoculars. I'd be like, looking at you. And they'd be like, oh, me? And like, so I'm being, even if they can't hear my voice, I'm being cool with it. I'm like, I don't know what the skill is for. So now I'm like, oh, here it is. Now we're showing she's doing the business. And then if the guy or the girl might be stressing or a little confused, I'm like, man, that haircut's nice. Where do you go to school? Oh, you played this. And then all of a sudden I'm making them feel good again. Not like I'm doing it to do anything. I really just want to know. I want everyone to feel comfortable, including myself. And then they don't realize 10 minutes went by that could have been awkward. Like maybe the lockbox wasn't opening or your email wasn't pulling up, but everything's just smooth.
Yeah, interacting and interfacing with life, whether it's buying a home or meeting a new person or just stepping into a new environment, it's tough. It's hard because people are carrying with them this crazy, so I can just see the perfect marriage of you two wanting to lift people up and please people. I would assume that, you guys want to sell the home and it's what you do, but I would assume that when you look at your, when you say, was today a good day, it probably has a lot to do with, how well you executed making people feel comfortable, because then at that point, if they don't buy the house, it's just because they're not ready or it's not right for them, but you guys do your work. All right. So on the topic, because from the standpoint of somebody watching you guys go from being a battle rapper to here, you can see that you guys are just kind of getting started. You're successful in relation to most people, but this is kind of like you're on your way somewhere. So in the spirit of that North Star, where are Ben and Natalia Harris going? And how will you know that you've arrived?
I don't know if we'll ever feel we have arrived, but we can see ourselves doing the final percent was very inspiring to us, people like you, people like Greg. We can see ourselves doing a podcast, talking about working together. We're talking about in our speech, finding your white flag. Like, it is tough to work together as a married couple, but got to find, maybe we're too stubborn to say I'm sorry sometimes, but little stuff, little signs we do, like this one here, like a little stuff where you can, like, okay, we're cool, we can work together. And I see us just doing a whole bunch of stuff. Coaching, touring, speaking, motivating, doing my music, teaching entrepreneurs, still doing the real estate, but having a team under us that we can then go ahead and keep. I guess if the why is to inspire and uplift people, the more we can, the better it'll be.
Yeah, I think it's just continuing to like follow, our various dreams, and then use everything that we're learning in that process and find ways to share it with other people. So, I feel like in real estate, we're really finding our niche, which is going towards more of, new developments, finding kind of more like those unique investment opportunities. So maybe I can see us sharing what we're learning from that and helping. Like, I really am passionate about helping like younger people invest. I feel like for me, that was something I did really early on and I didn't really see anyone else do. So that's always going to be in the back, a passion of mine that I want to see develop. But I think, just kind of growing together business wise. But then I always see Ben working on his music, and I'm always going to have a creative side and figure out ways to involve events in what we do. But I think at the end of the day, it's coming together to use all that to teach other people everything we've learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, coming from somebody that has experienced you guys, from the audience point of view, I can see that, there's so many different things about your story and the way you guys work, whether it's the white flag concept or just making changes to serve others. So I definitely see you guys on stage, right? Whether it's speaking or entertaining or doing both. That was what was so special about Greg's event.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my last question. It's a very dragon question. What are you two afraid of most in life?
I guess not being successful or going to the fullest potential. It would be mine. Like knowing this can happen, and then maybe I start thinking of too much stuff that can easily happen. Then I'm like, wait, I didn't do any of the stuff, and nothing happened when I know I can easily do any of that stuff. So that's just me, just kind of slowing it down, taking it piece by piece. But that was not living up to my fullest potential, I would say.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's not having, and I hate to even say it, like a work-life balance, because I think the biggest way I realized to have that is to not think of it that way. So I feel like before that was my biggest fear, but I think, right, like as we grow as a business, it's always in the back of my head, like, well, am I not going to be a good enough mom or spend enough time with the family? So I feel like right now we're trying to figure out ways to combine it. So, when it's not in the way, we'll take Gav along with us. If there's not a client with us, we'll take him. Like we went yesterday and took him to look at lots together. And now he's excited. Like, let's go look at the view. Like, what kind of view can we find?
He's like, is there a pile of dirt I can kick? I'm like, oh, there's a big pile. Go kick that.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's not having that balance, but I think it's also getting the idea of what that balance is out of my head and just finding ways to combine the same thing we're doing with our relationship and our careers, extending that now to our child.
And this is a funny story. At the final percent, Gavin is our son. He wasn't supposed to come with us. We were supposed to have a babysitter. My mom's supposed to come and she couldn't last minute. I'm like, oh no. My sister, luckily, we flew her down, so she was watching him in the room. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, Kayla, Greg, is it cool if they come down and watch the show? Then they came watch the show. That was the first time he ever saw me perform. I'm like, well, this was all meant to happen. He was supposed to be here. See, we're making it a beautiful life balance, not just work and life.
I think it's funny because we were just listening to your podcast today with the opinions one. But it's like other people's opinions stop you, I feel like, from being as successful as you can. Because as a female, my whole life people are telling me if you work, that means you're not a good mom. If you do X, then you can't do Z. And it's kind of like, but why? So I feel like finally, like not listening to other people's opinions and what they think. And it's like, if I'm happy and he's happy and our family's happy, that's what's right. So that's the biggest thing right now, is finding what's right for us.
Yeah. Opinion nation, my way. That's a good one right there.
It's where we live, It's from the standpoint of being an entertainer. How do you know that you've entertained? Well, it's based on their opinion of it, So it's fascinating. Well, guys, if I had a bunch of chips in front of me and they said, "Do you want to bet on these people?" I'd push it all in.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, because it's just obvious that you're a couple that makes all of the things that most people perceive as the hard things. You guys seem to just like get excited about the hard things, and you make them look pretty and you make them look fun and stuff. That's another way of looking at this. Like a lot of the things that you guys have done, from ASU to creating the parlor to getting into real estate. And I'm sure that, you guys don't wake up every day and have cartoon birds fly on your
No.
Julie Andrews runs through the room. You have your own stuff, but I can tell that you guys are enjoying life. You're excited about life. And that's a formula for success. Interesting, Natalia, you were talking about work-life balance. I was listening just today, interesting. I was listening to Gary Vee was asked a question. How do you balance work and life and family? And he goes, you don't.
Yeah.
He says, there's no way to create balance between work and life. And she says, well, what's the solution? He goes, you try your best. And you always try to come back to home, you find your way back to the North Star, the things that matter most. And you just, do your best. You do your best and try. And I believe that if anybody does that, of course they're going to win. Of course they're going to succeed and things like that. So if Chicken and I ever come to our senses and buy a house in Vegas, we're going to come experience. And Ben, when we come to look at a house, you can act as crazy as you want.
Okay, cool. I'm going to be excited.
Jump on the beds and just every room could just be Ben.
For sure. I'll take my shoes off before I jump on the bed, but for sure.
Careful what you ask for.
And we'll hook up Chicken with some lashes if she wants
definitely.
Yeah. Well, Chicken is she's in school now to become a psychologist, but she's also a sex therapist.
Okay.
So Chicken's a very interesting individual, which has to be that way because I'm Dragon. Dragon just hate somebody. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. This is going to be awesome. People are going to love this. So many just gold nuggets, and appreciate both of you. I'm happy that we bumped into each other amidst the 7 billion people.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. Honored to be on your podcast.
Yeah, thank you.